Thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman. And I find it fascinating that that there's a concern about having all colleges pay into insurance to cover colleges that are discharged when we've just passed legislation and passed appropriations that don't cover the Hyde Amendment. So we want all taxpayers to pay for abortions, even if you're morally or religiously opposed to abortions. So there seems to be no concern about having all taxpayers pay for other things when it's to someone's preference. So interestingly enough, Mr. Cooper, you noted that the higher education landscape is changing and that federal policy should adapt with it. What are some of the key changes or drivers of this changing landscape? And how big of an impact do you believe that changing demographics will have on college enrollment?
Thank you, Congresswoman. So one of the most important factors that are driving changes in higher education enrollment is the fact that higher education is a rather counter-cyclical industry. So when the economy is not so great, people will tend to want to go back to school in order to get another degree and potentially increase the scope of their job opportunities. And when the economy is doing better, then the labor market will look much better relative to education, because higher wages and more jobs available will mean more opportunities out there. During the decade of the 2010s, we did see that there was a long decline in college enrollment between 2010 and 2019. That may be the case again as the economy begins to recover from the COVID-19 recession. And this is going to have effects on the higher education sector, that when enrollment contracts in this way due to the improving economy, not all colleges are going to be able to survive. And that's a natural part of the cyclicality of the higher education sector. And some colleges are going to close. It's unfortunate, but it is a reality. And that's why we do need to be prepared for when those college closures happen and make sure that both students and taxpayers are protected.
So I think that we saw this in the past several years when you had MBA programs at both public and private colleges. There was a proliferation of MBA programs, but now we've seen those close. And part of that, I think, is this dynamic between the college degree, the degree you're achieving, and then the income opportunities or employment opportunities thereafter. And do they, is there a benefit to getting that higher education? So is this demographic similar for undergraduate as well as for graduate schools, that your landscape that you're talking about changing?
That is definitely true. When the economy is improving and when there are more opportunities out there, that reduces the demand to get the next degree, because students will say, why should I spend 2 or 3 or 4 years in college when there's a great job opportunity waiting for me right now? But when the economy does turn south, then you do see students going into those MBA programs, which might not have the returns they promise, or going into other programs that they hope will be able to graduate them to a better life. But it is extremely cyclical, and it's getting more cyclical with each business cycle.
And I think, certainly we don't, we want all bad actors, bad performers held accountable. We want students who are trying to, improve their education, get a better education, improve their employment opportunities. We want them to be made whole. And so I guess in that vein, looking at what's happened in the past and where we are economically now, do you see more colleges closing their doors in the very near future?
I think it's certainly a possibility. We don't still fully understand how college enrollment, and therefore the number of colleges operating, is going to react to the COVID-19 pandemic. If we recover fairly quickly economically, that might result in fewer students going to college and therefore more college closures. I'm not going to say that it's definitely going to happen, but it's definitely a major possibility and an eventuality that we need to be prepared for.
Thank you so much. I thank all of our witnesses, and I yield back my time, Madam Chair.